I am so tired of the Democrats being the adults in government while the Republicans sit around, scream like crybabies, and end up getting their way as a result of the temper tantrums. Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. If you share my concerns, maybe you could like this video and subscribe to this channel, maybe even click that little bell that will notify you when I post something new. So 2 items of news caught my attention today. One is about President Biden, who toured Kentucky after the terrible tornadoes there caused so much destruction. And his response, of course, despite the fact that Kentucky voted for his opponent in the presidential election, and despite the fact that Kentucky is represented by 2 Republican senators, one of whom, Rand Paul, has voted repeatedly against providing aid to other states, despite those things, Joe Biden said that he's going to do whatever it takes to help Kentucky recover from the storms. This is how government's supposed to act, and how a president's supposed to act, to be the president of all Americans, not just the Americans who voted for him. It's also, frankly, how an adult would behave, not taking personally political disputes and instead stepping up when people are in need. As I said before, it's quite ironic that both U.S. senators from Kentucky, especially Rand Paul, who has voted repeatedly against any efforts to provide aid to other states in the wake of disasters, are desperately begging the White House to step in and provide emergency aid to Kentucky. But that's just one of the 2 stories that jumped out at me. Another one has to do with a bunch of Republican governors led by South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, the Republican governor who appears to be doing everything she can to pick up Donald Trump's mantle, are excitedly accepting the money that is provided to them by the Federal Coronavirus Relief Act. A bill, by the way, that was passed solely with Democratic votes with no Republican support. So these Republicans are accepting the money, and even worse than accepting the money, they're trumpeting the fact that they're able to deliver benefits as a result of these funds coming into their state, that many of them, including Kristi Noem, attacked when Democrats were trying to pass it through Congress. Now, one might say that this is just an example of hypocrisy, which is pretty typical among Republicans at this point. But it's more than that. It's an example of the Republicans refusing to be responsible actors in government. We had another example of that just recently, where certain Republicans were willing to vote for a process that would allow Democrats to raise the debt ceiling with only Democratic votes. But the point is that the Republicans didn't vote to raise it. And in fact, many Republicans attacked Mitch McConnell for working with Democrats to develop this process whereby certain Republicans could vote to allow the Democrats to raise the ceiling without actually voting to raise the ceiling. So in other words, they didn't have to do the responsible thing. They were going to let the Democrats do that. And as I've expressed in other videos, this is especially outrageous given the fact that Democrats voted repeatedly to increase the debt limit while Donald Trump was president. And again, they did that because that was the responsible thing to do. So what we're seeing now is this pattern where again and again and again, Democrats do the responsible thing and Republicans beat them up for it. But then Republicans are perfectly happy to accept the benefits that come as a result of the responsible things that Democrats do. This pattern of behavior shows that there really is only one party in government right now, not only that cares about democracy, but that cares about having an operating government in the United States at all. After all, there are times that government has to do difficult things. Government might have to do things like balance the budget, for example, or raise taxes on the very wealthy, or pass restrictions on businesses' ability to abuse their workers. These are all things that will run into some opposition, and frankly have run into substantial opposition in the Senate with the Republicans filibustering any efforts to do any of those things. And yet, Democrats are willing to do them because, again, they're the responsible thing that will benefit the country. And Republicans will be perfectly happy to accept credit for the benefits that come from that, while also attacking Democrats for doing it. And that creates this situation where not only do Democrats not get the benefit for doing the difficult things that help government to operate, but they actually pay a political price for it, allowing Republicans to appeal to the basest, most selfish instincts of some Americans, while again enjoying the prosperity that comes as a result of the efforts of the Democrats. Well, if you agree with me or disagree with me, I'd love to see your comments down below. And I'll post a link to a video here about Kristi Noem, the superstar governor. And if you could like this video and subscribe to this channel, that'd be a huge help. I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.